That's
and
basically.
listen to thrash metal.
Yeah, and listen to thrash. And hey, there's some fun. The thing is, if you know people, there's no boring town. It's just when you don't know people in a little town, that'll break your brain. But if you know people,
Or if
there's
you
always
burn
fun
a
to be
bunch
had.
of bridges, there's always those people in small towns.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You do. You know, I've unintentionally burned a few bridges,
And no one forgets in a small town.
yeah. Well, you know, it's. I'll remember forever because that was the history of my small town.
Exactly. Like there's nothing else exciting going on.
Yeah,
That scandal will last forever.
Yeah. So there you go.
I can imagine the scandals you've been in.
I've been in some stupid low-level stuff. You bet.
Now, how does a young man from Wyoming become French accents?
Oh goodness. So this is a bit of a story. So I got my BA in 2008 in theater, and I was going to come out to LA and be an actor. And thank God I didn't do that because I realized after the fact that's quite retarded. And that's what a lot of poor
Never
people.
come here to be an actor
No.
or a model.
Or
don't be a model.
if you-
Please don't be
and
a
if
model.
you do
You're gonna
come,
fail at your
have a backup for
because
goodness
you're never
sake.
gonna be a fucking model.
Well, if you're fucking, you might be a model. But I mean,
those are
that's
different
a different
types
kind
of
of
No,
model.
not these
That's
days.
a Van Nuys model. That's what that is. That's the model from Van Nuys.
Now with the hashtag Me Too, it's not gonna.
Oh, yeah.
That's
those
right.
days
Well,
are
no, the
over.
sugar daddies websites are still up. Don't worry,
Yeah,
fake
you-
models. You can still get out there,
You
but
can
no
be-
one's a real
Ugh.
model in LA.
You
Go
can
to
be
New
a-
York.
You can be a sugar baby, but not a.
Yeah, yeah. So see, and that's the thing. If I'd have come out here,
So you're a theater nerd,
yeah, I was a theater nerd. Well, I wanted to be Luke Skywalker. We got to dial it back.
right?
I wanted to be Luke Skywalker from the time I was very young. I loved it, and when I was in 8th or ninth grade, I knew they were going to make more movies, and I was about the age of the kid who was Anakin. You know?
Right.
Good
I-
dream. You're like, I'm gonna manifest
Yeah,
that.
well, and I knew I couldn't actually ever be in a Jedi, but I could get in the movies. If I learned to act now, I figured I could get to the point where I could audition for that when I'm a young man.
I love that. Like, that's smart though. You're like, I'm gonna work my ass up to this.
Yeah, so what I did is in Gillette, Wyoming, I went to every single theatrical endeavor anywhere I could find for years. I ended up getting a scholarship for speech and debate, which turned into theater. I got a scholarship at Cornell, not university,
awesome.
not
No.
university,
Oh,
the
okay.
college. It's the Sam's Club version. It's in Mount Vernon,
Don't
Iowa.
say that. Just go with it.
Okay.
It's LA.
I know, I should. I have trouble though because I went there, you see, and I feel so dishonest by misrepresenting. It's an
Oh, you're proud of your Cornell. Be proud of your
well, I don't know if that.
Trust me, you're probably the one person that went to that Cornell that's actually amazing.
Maybe, yeah, that's probably the
Yeah,
case.
like they all went there so they could say they went to Cornell. It's
Well, it's got some. It's got a one course at a time thing where they do 3.5 weeks of one course, and then you do 3.5 weeks of another course.
that would be wonderful.
It's kind of neat, but everybody's a slut there because you switch boyfriends every course or girlfriends every course.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so that's the downside of that. It's a lot of fun though. I mean, I enjoyed some of my time there, and I got my BA, and I was like, okay, now I got to pay off all this tens of $1,000s of college debt. I got getting a useless degree, so I can go out to LA and do something else
The
stupid.
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, be Luke Skywalker. So
And by the way, I've seen pictures of Jake Lloyd
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Kind of looks like you.
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the way, I lettered and silvered in speech and debate. I don't think it's a useless talent.
Oh no, I'm talking about theater.
Oh, yeah.
Speech and debate. No, listen to me go. I'm in
Oh
contemporaneous
no,
mode right now.
I've noticed that your vocabulary is incredibly astute.
Oh, snoochie boochies and merci beaucoup. See, two words that were not English. Which ones were real? But
Right.
so I worked in the coal mines to pay off my college loans, and
So you went to college to work in the coal mine.
well, but I paid them off the year I graduated.
Okay.
And that was it was $70,000 over the course of 4 years, and I was debt free
That's great.
at 21 because I graduated a little early.
You have
So-
a lot of drive.
I've been blessed, I'll tell you. So I was at the mines, right? And so here's what I'm thinking. I'm like, all right, so here's my choices. The mine wasn't going to keep me on full time. So either A, I stay in Gillette, find another mine. It's a good old boys club. Get on with them, work for a year or so, backlog 10 to 12 grand, go out to LA and audition 6 months straight, 40 hours a week till I get some work. I probably would have done okay with some commercials. I don't know. That was plan A. Plan B, I knew of a place I could stay in Colorado, get a job down there, and check out the art circuit in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't know what to do. All right, God, I have a coin here. Heads, I go one way, tails, and I flipped it, and I went to Colorado. And I
Right.
thought, well, I'll try stand-up comedy because I was listening to all the stand-up comedians that I really like, Mitch Hedberg and Steve Martin.
We actually
and,
have a pretty good comedy group out there. I like it.
Oh yeah, there's a
We
decent
got a lot
scene.
of decent art. Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising. So I was
Theater
like,
is really good there too.
I almost
yeah,
got
I was
into that,
the
but
place.
I'm not good at the musical. I can sing
Yes.
now, but when I applied
That's
before I was a comedian, that's yeah. You get
those are my choir years.
those little showrooms by the RV place on the interstate. There's a couple little dinner theaters. Anyway, so I went down there 2008 in
Also,
October.
Casa Bonita, anyone can be an actor.
Casa Bonita. Totally worth it. I went down there in 2008. It's November, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna find some comedy while I look for a job. And I looked for comedy, and I looked and I couldn't find it. And I went to an open mic on Colfax Avenue at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
No one wants to go to Colfax Avenue.
Nobody. It's the I don't know the analog here, the Balboa.
Balboa.
Yeah, I don't know what nasty street up
What
here.
is what's the street in Pretty Woman?
I don't know.
What was the street in Pretty Woman?
I don't know.
Well, Colfax is where the hookers used to hang out, so whatever the street in Pretty Woman is.
Bam, you got it.
Google it.
So I went there and it was this dive ass bar, and there was this old drunk dude putting money in the jukebox saying it was his song, and I was like, this isn't an open mic, this is sadness. So I left and I gave up.
No, it was an open mic.
It was. Yeah, I didn't know. I gave it up until 2011, because in 2010 I thought I was going to get married with this girl. She thought she was going to play crotch hopscotch with any crotch she came across. We had our differences. She broke up with me.
Did you meet her at Cornell?
No, I met her at T-Mobile. And
that still somehow sounds slutty.
Yeah. Oh, you nailed.
Sounds like a lateral move.
Yeah, I was a call center representative. I'd be on the phones getting calls and. Thanks for calling T-Mobile. I can set you up with a new family plan. And just do
Is that
accents.
what I wanted, the no contracts or commitments plan?
Yeah, she did. So she busted up with me. I was all depressed. I got a DWAI, which is a DUI light, driving while ability impaired. And I lost my license, and I had to get a new job. I was at IBM at the time then. I met her at T-Mobile. I was at IBM at the time. And I was in the height of my depression, saddest place I've ever been in my adult life. And my buddy told me there was a comedy open mic right like a mile or two from where I lived.
Right.
Turn that pain into laughter.
Bam, yeah. So I went out there, I rode my bike there because I couldn't drive, and I watched them on the stage, and I was like, oh, this is what they're doing? I think I can work with this. So I came out and I pretended to be from Scotland, and I went out there and I told a bunch of weird one-liners. I got angry, and they were just so taken with my accent because I can pull it off quite well.
Everybody loves an accent.
I love it, especially Scotland. You can do anything with a Scotland dialect. It's great.
Right.
And so I was talking like that, and then in the middle I said, I got jokes that I love blackberries, as I prefer to call them, wee grapes, and stupid shit like that. And then I came out of it and I said, I'm really from Wyoming. Bet you didn't expect that. I'm like the Invisible Man having an orgasm. You didn't see that coming.
Right.
And I did that whole bit, and it blew their mind because they really didn't see it coming.
Right.
So they put me on a showcase that night. And for about 3 months, it was Heidi's Half Note in the East Coast. And they still do shows to this day.
Okay.
Heidi's is one of the best open mics in the country as far as I know.
All right.
I haven't been everywhere in the country, but I've been to a lot of places, and it's a really good open mic.
Sure.
And I was
Just be careful on Kofax.
Yeah,
No joke.
Heidi's is in Fort Collins.
Oh, okay,
So
sure.
you're good. There's nowhere bad in Fort Collins except a couple trailer parks, and there it's just, they like smoke weed and look at you funny. I did
That's
that
just the
for
weed, it's not you.
3 months or so, 2 mics a night, because I could only do that many. And as I was doing this, toward the end of 2011, a guy came through who headlined as a Scottish character, and he never broke character.
Right.
And he came through, and he already had this headline act, and I was like, well, I can't do any. He's already headlining with it. I can't do that.
He was doing this. He was doing the Scottish voice.
He was doing a Scottish character, and he used the Scottish character as a vehicle to get away with shenanigans, which is what kind of my thing
Right.
was. And I didn't think anybody else would. I didn't think anybody else would possibly do that.
Right.
And so there he was doing it. So I was like, well, now I have to reinvent myself or something. And so I was trying to figure out new characters, and I wrote this treatment for a bureaucrat who described the most boring things as though they were the most exciting things that had ever happened. And his name was French Accent, which is the acronym you saw on America's Got Talent. Francois, Raphael, Edgar, Norbert, Celestine, Herbert, Absalon, Corentin, Clement, Emmanuel, It's 4, the initials of which spell Franck Jackson. And it was very weak. It wasn't funny.
Right.
But I had the idea kicking around. Well, then my brother was going to go to school at a high school down in Fort Collins. And my folks wanted to chaperone him where he was living because he was a teenager. They wanted me to move in with him and sort of take care of him.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that, but I decided to do that to help him out, especially since IBM was treating me like garbage. So while I'm moving, I'm a piano player. I've been blessed with a gift on the keys. I can play,
Right.
man, my fingers, they each got a brain in them. But I love to play all the time. And I had it leaned against the wall, and the weight of the keyboard broke the ACD adapter that usually you plug into. So now I couldn't play the key, so I had to send it off to get fixed, which forced me to pick up the accordion, which I'd been given the year before and hadn't touched. I wanted to busk with it, But
Who gave you the
my
ukulele?
mom did for Christmas.
Oh.
I wanted to busk with it, like because I play keys well. It's like, oh,